What is going on, everyone? My name is Joseph Reynolds, and today joining me once more is Mr. Reece Mcewan, ahead of his next fight on Cage Warriors. Obviously, another big fight, another step closer to Cage Warriors Gold, which I'm sure is a big plan for this year. Ahead of that fight, how are you feeling for it, buddy?
Yeah, feeling good, feeling ready. 6 days out, so as you can imagine, I'm just like counting down the time, counting down the days, one more sleep towards the fight, and yeah, I'm feeling ready and focused. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Obviously, the weather's getting too hot for me. But the bald head's he's had enough already. But
You should come up to Scotland. It's pouring today.
oh, I might have to. This no good is this sun for me. But obviously, in terms of sort of looking at this fight as well, that is coming, obviously, only 6 days out. In terms of the mentality shift that there is when there is 1 week away, have you started to notice a sort of change, or how is it sort of feeling now, just 1 week away compared to maybe 10 weeks out?
Yeah, no, definitely. Maybe like I'm a lot more focused and like channeled in now. I'm looking forward to that victory. Like a lot of visualization. I'm a big believer in like visualization and repeating the fight and the weigh in and the whole experience in my head. That's what I'm just trying to play out. I'm trying to play out the whole like from Thursday to Saturday night. Play out every small thing in my head, like walking out to the venue, coming out to my music being wrong, touching gloves, my opponent coming flying at me, like, yeah, he catches me a shot, I catch him, I finish him. He's, like, I'm playing out the fight, every possible scenario in my head, and then every positive scenario in my head as well, how I see the fight going. So my training, my hard contact training's done. I've got a couple of like sessions left, and wait to be made, and then it's fight time. So, like I said, I'm just very, very, very ready for this fight on Saturday night.
100%. And then in terms of sort of taking a look at this year, obviously, I know from speaking to you before, you set out 3 goals that you promised to achieve this year, and it's still possible to do. But obviously, you had the fight that were meant to happen earlier in the year that unfortunately going to happen due to the forget what it's called now. But obviously, there were that reason you had to pull out there. But
Staph infection, yeah.
Staph infection, there we go. But obviously, we had to pull out there. But in terms of sort of looking at this year and what you're still able to do, how are you sort of feeling in terms of looking back on what you're wanting to do this year?
Yeah, we just adapt to whatever we're facing with, any bit of adversity. We just need to deal with it head on, and then overcome it. And yeah, like the way that I see it is April 15th. I still refer that as my last fight. Obviously my last fight was November 12th, but yeah, I look at April despite not fighting, I see that as a win. Because I learned so much. The training camp that I had between November and April was incredible, and I was able to build on that momentum, and I was able to build on that bit of adversity that I never got to fight, and I came across a staph infection, and I had to rest, I had to recover. It just made me stronger, smarter, and I went from that last fight camp preparations. So in terms of this year, my goal still stay the same: get as many fights as I can under the Cage Warriors banner, and win that Cage Warriors Gold towards the end of the year.
Yeah, and in terms of sort of looking at the landscape of the division at the moment, obviously, there's the current champion who may or may not head off to the UFC. He's still in the air in terms of what will happen there and everything else that can happen. But in terms of sort of looking at where you feel as though you should be after this fight, what do you sort of see that comes after?
Yeah, like I said, I hate to repeat myself, but this is why I never really get too dead set on certain opponents. Since I signed with Cage Warriors, we've had a handful of champions. We had, I think Dominic Wooden was a champion. Then Martione was a champion. And then it went vacant. And then Lachlan and Hazan were fighting for it. I never really thought Hazan was going to compete for the I never seen that come. I thought Lachlan was going to definitely fight for it. And then now Lachlan's the champion. So, and I feel that by the time that I get my title shot, I feel that he'll probably be off to the UFC. I think if he gets his way, he'll be off to the UFC pretty soon. So we'll see how that plays out. So I don't really tend to focus on who's got the belt or who's in the division. Anyone can maybe move promotion. They could go to the Contender Series. They could get signed to a short notice fight. UFC London's just round the corner. So any top contender in Cage Warriors might get their shot. Somebody might pick up a bad ACL injury and be out for a year. So I'm not focused on any of the guys in the division. Somebody new, some new prospect might come up and call me out and get the fight. Or someone like my next opponent from another country, from Brazil, that I've never heard anything about. But for me, I just see myself at the top of the division. And like I said, because I'm 6 days out from the fight, when I'm visualising this win, I'm visualising this fight, I just see this as like a title fight, and I'm getting that belt wrapped around my shoulder and my hands getting raised, and I'm prepared for fight. I always spar 5-5s anyway, but I'm prepared for 5-5s. Obviously, I know I'm only doing 3 rounds, right? But that's just where my mind goes. It goes in a different place. See myself getting the win, getting the belt, feeling that process out already. So I see myself at the top of the division. I don't think that's. I think that's very true. I think I am at the top of the division. And then after this fight, we'll see where the landscape of the fighters in the division are in terms of my next opponent.
Yeah, and then as well, you sort of mentioned it there in terms of sort of the adaptability of the division as well. How in pretty much 6 months, it can completely change. New people can come in, or someone who weren't originally in the top, which all of a sudden is. So, in terms of having to sort of adapt to that and knowing that the next person you could face could literally be anyone, is there ever a part where you do have to adapt to that a little bit, or is that something that you're just used to doing anyway?
Well, I used to watch from afar. I used to watch when I wasn't signed to Cage Warriors. I used to watch the bantamweight fights and say, I could beat that guy. How can I beat that guy? Now I watch the bantamweight fights and I take away the emotional attachment that I have to that opponent, and I just watch a style and I try and learn from their fights. So, for instance, if like 2 bantamweights in my division fight, I'm not eyeing them up. I'm not saying, oh, I could potentially fight him next. I'm just looking at the style that they've got and how would I fight against that style. And so my eyes, I'm already studying against a style like that. If I get offered an opponent with that style and it happens to be that guy, then brilliant. But like I said, I feel myself at the top, and I feel that when people watch me, they're going to be wanting to fight me and they're chasing me. I've got that target on my back because I am towards the top of the division. But like I said, the landscape will always change. There'll be new people and there'll be unexpected people. In my opinion, I've got to just be ready for anyone that gets past my way. Anyone that gets past my way and try and beat them, and that's my job.
Yeah, and obviously we've spoken in the past before in terms of sort of the fan support that you always have at shows and sort of the energy that you do bring wherever it may be. Obviously, your opponent's coming over from Brazil for this fight. In terms of sort of maybe the pressure that he may face, obviously the big crowd, you know, is going to be supporting you. It's almost like stepping into your territory almost. Do you feel as though that plays into your favour almost, to know that all that support's going to be there and a lot of the crowd is going to be rooting for you on the night?
Yeah, it's obviously a huge thing. It's a huge motivation and, again, piece of visualization in terms of the fight. I expect a crowd or whatever, but um, I also take into consideration that I fought with no crowd before, and I've also fought as an away fighter, and I fought as the home fighter, and I've had the experience of maybe getting caught up into being the home guy or having a big support or anything like that. These things can be distractions when you're thinking of the fight. But in terms of advantages or disadvantages, see when you're in there, you can't hear anybody. Nothing. No matter how nervous you are, no matter how pumped up you are, you quickly realise it doesn't matter when you're in there. It's just about fighting. So yeah, he's probably coming into the fight thinking he's the big underdog. He's coming against people. He's going to have nobody really there to support him and stuff. He's got nothing to lose and everything to gain. But in my fight, I just see every fight as I've got everything to gain. Every time I go for a fight, I've got everything to gain. I'm going to go show everybody how good I am, no matter if there's a million people watching, that'd be pretty cool, or one person watching, I don't care. I've got a job to go. My job is to go and win, and that's that. A freak accident could happen on the day of the event, and nobody could be allowed in. I'm just prepared for that. I'm prepared for everything. Like I said, I put every situation, right or wrong, in my head, and I play it out. So I'm just ready to go in there, fight, touch gloves, not touch gloves. Don't really care. Go in and fight, win.
And then as well, in terms of sort of looking at this fight and what you do feel as though how it may play out a little bit, how do you sort of see this fight playing out?
My opponent is durable. He's tough. He's going to be hard to finish and put away. He's going to be in my face calling for a war. Maybe if his previous fights go by anything, he'll try and like scissor knee me or whatever. Hopefully, it doesn't get to land that. But like in terms of the fight, like I said, I think it'll be hard to put away. But over 3 rounds, I get stronger. I'm looking forward to going in and settling into the fight, and just letting the fight play out. To be honest, I think I see a round 2 finish. I think it'll be hard to put him away. I think round 1, he's going to be strong, pumped up with adrenaline. He's going to be eager, and I just think as the fight goes on, I'll be able to break that style down, and wear him down in round 2, get that finish, whether it be TKO or submission. I'd love a TKO ground and pound finish though.
100%. And then just a final thing for myself is obviously a lot of people, they already know what to expect from Reece Mcewan when he does step inside the cage. But if there's still someone that doesn't yet know what they can expect to see, what does that look like a little bit come fight night?
An excellent MMA performance, and then afterwards you can guarantee I'll be smiling after the fight. A smiling performance, that's what you can guarantee. But yeah, an excellent performance by me on Saturday night, and then I'll be putting on a show for everybody. That's what you can expect.
100%. Well, that's
you can expect Scott. When was the last time Scotland beat Brazil? When was the last time Scotland ever beat Brazil at anything? When was it? Has that ever happened before?
I honestly could not tell you.
Yeah, I'm going to be pessimistic here and say I don't know if it's ever happened before. So here we are, Scotland. We're going to get a win over Brazil.
There we go. That is everything from myself. If you'd like to take a chance to try any sponsors, anything like that, obviously feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, obviously a huge shout out to all my sponsors. Go and visit them at reecemcewan.com. They've got a wee tab on my website, because without them I'd be lost in this sport. I invest so much in it. I invest my whole life. And my fight camp costs thousands of pounds, and without them I wouldn't be able to do that. And without a doubt, the results are huge. So massive shout out to all my sponsors, my team, my training partners, and everybody who's making the trip down to Wales or that's messaged, all the supporters, like you said. It's every interview is getting touched on now, and I'm very glad that it's been recognised, because the support is magnificent, and I'm very grateful for it, and obviously very thankful for you for interviewing me and everybody who's listened to the interview so far.
100%. It's always a pleasure. Obviously, July 1st in Cardiff. Be there at B Square, not one to miss. But as always, appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You have a nice day, okay, mate?
You too.